The first instrument I ever played, I think, was actually it was the drum pad. I wouldn't say drums, it was the drum pad. My brother, who was 5 years older than me, was a really awesome heavy metal drummer. And of course I wanted to follow in his footsteps, so I had a little Remo drum pad. But I only took 2 or 3 lessons because I think the third lesson we were talking about drum rolls and I couldn't do it and I got super frustrated, and so I just quit, you know. Not a good lesson for aspiring musicians.
So from there, was there another instrument?
Yeah, the next one was violin. In 4th grade, I played the violin for a year, but I didn't play very, you know, I didn't play very well, and so I got frustrated at sounding bad on a violin is just one of the worst sounds on earth. You know what I think trumpet and violin are probably the 2 worst instruments to sound bad on. So I gave that up, and then I picked up the guitar when I was 13 or 14, and this was like the first instrument that I really felt like a real relationship with, and then that led to me playing bass eventually when I was like 17. Paid gig? I used to be a waiter. Well, waiter maybe is a generous term. I worked at a barbecue restaurant called Ben's Whole Hog Barbecue in Manassas, Virginia, home of John and Lorena Bobbitt, infamously. And it was just me and Ben of Ben's Whole Hog Barbecue, the 2 of us. And then my shift would go from noon until 8 p.m. on Sundays. This was when I was in high school, when I was like 16 or 17. And at 8 p.m. I would get off work, and a waitress would come in and work the last 2 hours, and I would go to the front of the restaurant and play guitar and sing. And I would get paid in barbecue. So that I guess that qualifies as kind of my first paying gig. Yeah. My brother was the person who exposed me to jazz. He was a heavy metal drummer for a while, and then he got into the jazz thing, and so wherever he was going, I was kind of following. And he kind of, he and my dad kind of broke me into it with bands like Steely Dan and, like kind of Zappa, like kind of gateway drugs into jazz. But the first kind of straight ahead stuff I really liked was really old school stuff, was like Oscar Peterson and Joe Pass and Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan, and that's still my favorite kind of jazz, more than the kind of headier modern stuff. I really like old swinging, grooving stuff. Who have I not played with that I would want to play with? James Taylor. I would love to play with James Taylor. My dream gig is actually Tom Petty. If I could be in one band for the rest of my life and never play with anyone else, I think it would be Tom Petty. That's kind of a weird thing for I don't know if I'm a jazz musician, but for someone roughly in the jazz idiom to say, but yeah, these are my guys. James, Stevie Wonder, of course. That would be awesome. But yeah. Yes, I've gotten, very recently I've gotten into, well, not very recently, I'd say over the last 2 years I've gotten really into music from Mali. And I got to go there to record Salif Keita on a track for our next record. And got to stay on his island in Bamako, and it really was an incredible experience. And there's something about the music from this country, from Mali, that it's there's this weird bridge between the music of the southern United States and Mali. They even call it desert blues, especially like the Tuaregs in the north, like Tanarawin and Ali Farka Touré, and these people. There's blues in their music, 4-chord, 1-chord, blues scales, lots of guitar playing, and I feel like a really deep relationship with it for some reason. So it's a place that I want to spend more time in, But artists like Umu Sangare and Basaku Kuyate and Tumane Jebate and Salif Keita and Neba Solo and all these guys, I'm like really, really in that right now. Speed.